Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 403 of the Orange Pill Investor. I got to catch a plane back to Orlando, hitting Disney. And today I'm going to start things off with a little joke, but I swear it'll be relevant. So there's a guy that's been drinking, kind of in the back of the bar all night. And he goes up to the bartender and he says, he's just sloshy drunk, uh, slurring his words, and he says, "Hey bartender, I bet you 50 bucks that I can pee into that empty beer bottle right there and not spill a drop." And the bartender's like, "Oh yeah, you're on." He's thinking this guy's just wasted. There's no way he's going to be able to do this. And so the guy stands up on top of a bar stool and he lets fly and he just pees everywhere. I mean, all over the bar. He doesn't get a single drop into the beer bottle. And when he's done, the bartender's just, starts laughing his ass off. And he's like, "All right, buddy, you know, uh, that'll be 50 bucks." And he gets out a little towel and he starts cleaning things up, Clorox, bleach, and everything. And all of a sudden, the drunk guy straightens up. He's not slurring his words, and he's just got this big grin on his face. And the bartender says, "What's so funny? You just lost 50 bucks." And he says, "Well, you see that guy in the back of the bar?" He says, "Yeah. I paid him 100 that I could pee all over your bar and you'd wipe it up with a smile." And that's the way that I trade options. So hear me out. What's up, Emperor? Um, let's just get into it. So I got to do this quick, but so I'm only really going to trade the challenge account. It's the only thing that I really have things expiring, I think, anyway. So we got this $400 strike. This is me losing the $50 bet to the bartender, right? I got paid 1,000 and I owe 2,500. So I'm getting wrecked 1,500 on this one. This one is ping ponging back and forth in the money, out of the money. So this is a giant loser here, but I don't have to worry about that for another week or two. The point is, when I sold this for 1,000, I didn't just do nothing with the money. There's no cash in this account. $223, I can't even buy a single share. But these long calls here could be the Septembers, the Octobers, the Novembers, the Decembers, the Januaries. It doesn't really matter. Me personally, I don't YOLO the under 90 days shut stuff. But this is the guy. This is the guy in the back of the bar, and so I'm betting short term that I don't get wrecked more than I'm going to profit on the longs. You could say, well, you know, aren't you just aren't they just canceling each other out? And I don't think so. I think it's because of the theta acceleration curve. You could probably Google it. You probably get a decent. If you can find a tasty trade curve, theta acceleration curve, 45 days to expiration, you might be able to get a hold of it. Otherwise, I'm assuming our presentations will be made available at some point. If not, I'll just try to recreate it. I kind of had to do a speed run of my presentation anyway because we were behind schedule. Um, so if we can't release that, I'll do the full length version, and maybe I'll just do the whole thing anyway with the stuff that I had to cut out. But this is like theta arb. Some people want to be gamma neutral, delta neutral, all that stuff. I think I'm kind of like arbing theta here. Under 45 days to expiration, theta is accelerating. So mechanically, I'm selling right before it decays quickly. And then I'm turning around and I'm buying something that's decaying very slowly. And so let's just see if this worked. Um, Happy to say that after the open, I think I'm like 30 grand up on the covered call ETFs now. I think I was worth like 245 and I think or 246, and the ETFs are worth like 216. Now I think they are going to pay dividends again soon, so they may be playing catch up, and that's going to be something that I'm gonna have to like stay 2 steps ahead of them because it's gonna look like I'm winning, and then all of a sudden they're gonna issue dividends, and they'll be, they're gonna be sprinting to catch up to me again. Um, so declaring victory is a little premature right now, but let's just see how this works. So I got to deal with this, right? So I don't get shares called away, or I could just let them get called away, right? If I thought we were gonna dip again, I could do that, but I'm just gonna go out another week and I'm just gonna slightly out of the money. Maybe 2, 3%. 2% would be like almost $9 a share, so 435, right? This is gonna cost me 1,500 bucks to roll. I'm sure I'm not gonna blow anybody's eardrums out. All right. Try to get this filled with as little pain and suffering as possible. All right, so that cost me 1,500, right? 1,300 in margin. This one, I'm just gonna do nothing. This has only been on for 11 days. It can easily stay on for another week or two. And somebody asked a really good question at the end of the call last time, like, don't you do the mechanical, roll it every 2 to 3 weeks, start it at around 45, close it between 21 and 24. And yes, that is correct when the price doesn't move. But when the price moves, like if the price moves down, you're not gonna just wait to roll 3 weeks if there's nothing left. You're gonna roll it early. And I think the same is true when the price moves up. Um, if the price moves down and it makes sense to roll it early, then it makes sense to me that if the price goes up, then I might let it cook a little bit longer, especially since the extrinsic value that I'm trying to collect is more than it was when I started. Right? This is like this 3 grand is all extrinsic, like a dollar of it is intrinsic. So there's $3,000 worth of extrinsic value in this thing, and it only had 1,300 in it when I started. So there's a lot more to collect by sitting on my hands and doing nothing. So this doesn't bother me. Seeing this go in the money, and I think a lot of people when they first start doing this, they just panic and they immediately have to roll to an out of the money strike because it just freaks them out. But you can see on this one that I just rolled, it was $15 in the money, and as long as I'm rolling it before noon on expiration, I would say I have a 90% success rate on rolling without getting exercised. I think once I've been exercised late on a Thursday, and a couple other times I waited until like 2 p.m. on a Friday and I got exercised on. But Thursday afternoon, Friday morning is usually pretty safe unless you're just like 50% in the money or something like that. Somebody might be willing to just exercise early on you. So, but anyway, the point is I've got $1,300 of margin to eliminate. And all I got to do is go to the guy in the back of the bar and collect my winnings. Presto changeo. Um, I've got $974. That should get me 2 shares. All right, I have no substantial amount of cash, and that'll do it. Now, my safety net is dwindling here. And that's the delicate part of this. You have to be able to keep enough uncovered, unlimited positions to say, if you don't want any shares being called away, to save you from these positions. And so I've got 151 delta. That's the price action on 150 shares. Plus, I've got 69 shares that are uncovered as well. So that's like 200 and something shares on, you know, 200 uncovered versus 500 covered. And I think that's pretty reasonable. Anyway, that's all I got for the day. Maybe I'll just do a quick check. I don't think anything else needs to be rolled. A bunch of days to expiration, bunch of days to expiration. And this is the advantage. So I'm about to go back on vacation and I don't have to look at the market. I legit don't have to look at the market the whole time because I can send these out a week out, 2 weeks out, 45 days out, whatever, and do this as minimally as I like. All right, probably do have something here. So 3 CLSK puts. I could let these. You know what? I don't even need this money. I'm just gonna let them. Just let them expire worthless. That's the other thing. If I don't want to pay the $2 to close these, I don't have to. These will probably expire out of the money. Yep. And I should have minimized that before. These I might have to move on next week. Sold them for 32. The mark price is 4. Yeah, there's not much left here, but I'm trading this one with my brother-in-law. So I'll have to roll that with him. The Iron $5 put and the Riot $5 put. We started him out with a $1,000. And yeah, Wolf. I'll be grateful to get rid of fucking Wolf. It's too cheap to really be very effective at trading. I took a little bit of profits. I think I had several 1080s, and I'm just kind of holding on to this one. I, kind of like for the lottery ticket. If this is our pump to 750 or 1,000 or some crazy shit, but people are like, "Oh, aren't you afraid of the rally?" Like, this is the extent of the technical analysis that I do. I look at some support and resistance for the most part, and in order for us to get to 1,000, obviously we have to go through 5, 6, 7, 8, and 900. But 500 is more important than any of the other numbers because that's our all-time high, and it's also our 52-week high. And there are psychological attachments that traders and the market has to not only round numbers, but something like an all-time high. You clear a 52-week high, you clear an all-time high, and like FOMO starts to set in. Everybody is willing to just YOLO into shit. And, we were clawing back higher highs and higher lows here, but then we went nowhere. We were clawing back higher highs, higher lows here, we went nowhere. But this looks different. Like, I don't know. If you draw the flannel channel in here, we're definitely not in the channel anymore. So it would be nice to threaten these all-time highs again. And if we materially clear 500 and stay there, I might start getting a little bit more nervous about my covered calls. But until that happens, I think it'll be kind of steady. I don't want to say slow and steady because 230 to 400 and something since in just a month is pretty legit. But IV hasn't really come back, and I don't think it will until strategy levers up again. So if we get a nice Bitcoin pump, strategy adds leverage, then I think we're off to the races. But until we clear 500 and until strategy levers up, I don't think we're getting the God candles until those two things. We can check both of those boxes off. All right, let's do a quick chat check, and I got to haul ass and finish packing. What's up, Taylor? What's up, Deeply? Uh, Charles Stein, what's up, man? It's a good day. Sun is shining. Not here, it ain't. And my grass from being gone was already like a foot tall. Uh, yeah, we are gonna make it though. But my grass is. I might get like thrown out of the neighborhood by the time I come back next week. It'll be crazy. Deeply says max pain for markets. We're obviously up. Enjoy your vacation. Appreciate it. You have to close if you want to count it as a trade for your taxes as a trader. Absolutely. BarQuest. Do you think it's smart to buy a deep in the money put expiring in a year to hedge against a 35% drop? It feels cheap and gives me peace of mind, but curious about your take. If you think it's cheap and gives you peace of mind, then probably yes. But I never buy insurance. Um, I just don't find it terribly compelling. Generally, to protect myself when the price is up like this, if I want to protect it, I'll just take some portion of it off. Um, but if I was going to buy a put, I would probably do it as you said, basically a reverse leaps or something. I don't know. Is it still a leaps if it's a put? I'm not even sure. I just don't buy them. The only time I had to buy some was when Tasty Trade changed their margin algorithm 3 days before earnings, and I was basically almost about to get a margin call, even though the price of strategies hadn't changed. So I had to buy and I only had to buy them like I don't know a week out or something, and hold them for less than 24 hours, or sorry, 72 hours. But it tricked the algorithm into basically that I had downside protection. But that was only to avoid a margin call. It wasn't like I wanted to do it. What's up, Owl? Trust them, but we're in the 444 this cycle channel. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We sure are. And I hope the stars align. Maybe the North Star. All right, thanks everybody for checking in. I gotta finish packing. Be good, Joe.